So I'm back in the studio with the Mad Van and I have it taken apart. And as you saw earlier, the front diff was stripping pretty bad. And you can see here, the teeth are completely missing. Large chunks of the teeth are missing in multiple spots. So quite catastrophic damage to the diff ring gear. You can see the teeth are still sitting in there. I ordered the upgraded HD ring gear set from Kyosho for both the front and the rear. The rear didn't go out, but just in case, I just might as well replace both while I'm at it. And then I ordered a new center bevel gear just in case this one is damaged in any way. I just want to replace it just for insurance reasons. But yeah, pretty disappointing that it broke so catastrophically. On my first run, I wasn't even running it that hard. I wasn't doing any crazy skate park ramps or anything. I was just literally running it on a park, on a small little bike ramp. And I was landing it on grass too. I wasn't even landing it on the concrete. It's pretty disappointing. And I was running it on 2S also, so let's get this thing back together once the parts come in and then get to my final thoughts about the Kyosho Mad Van. So you guys got to see a lot of the running footage of the Mad Van in completely box stock form and also with the repaired and upgraded diff ring gears. And I wanted to kind of wrap up my thoughts about this truck. So let's start with the bad things, go with the good things, and then go with my final recommendation. So the bad things, the elephant in the room, of course, is the ring gears. So I mentioned I ordered a front and a rear and showed you guys the front, how badly the fronts were stripped. Not even stripped, just completely broken off. But it's a good thing I ordered two of them because it turns out as I was doing my repairs, the rear was also broken. So both diff ring gears blew out on the first run. Very light bashing on 2S LiPo. Pretty disappointing, especially for metal gears. And these gears just completely sheared off. So really disappointing. That kind of upset me, honestly, of how quickly this thing broke. And not only that, this body also didn't really last and doesn't really handle the abuse of a brushless monster truck. It's definitely more of an on-road body, I think, that they just kind of threw on this truck without too much thought. Yes, it has these skid guards here that do protect the body a little bit, but a lot of the cool detail parts that you really buy this body, you really get this body for, didn't really seem to want to stay on the truck. So the front grille would tend to pop off and try to escape. On my first ever run, not even 5 minutes into driving it, I kind of took a little bit of a nosedive landing off a little gutter. Probably didn't even get more than a foot of air, and kind of tumbled in grass pretty lightly and completely cracked the body on this corner. You can see the crack there, and I lost this taillight. So all of the detail parts, the taillights, anything that's not screwed on, like the taillights and the front grille, I would highly recommend you shoe glue it. And honestly, I would recommend you shoe glue and reinforce the entire body, because especially where these parts insert into, it seems like the body cracks pretty easily. So it's holding together better than the Red Cat Volcano bodies did, but that's a pretty low bar, I think. The body is pretty thin, and I think it just needs more reinforcement to be a proper body for a brushless, honestly, basher monster truck. I was pretty disappointed with the body, but it does seem like, other than those kind of minor issues with the body, overall it did hold up. It did hold up okay. This optional spoiler I put on didn't really break or anything, and it looks pretty cool. None of the plastic parts actually broke. They did pop off and crack the body, but the detail parts actually didn't break. So I'm pretty impressed with that. The front bumper, I expected this to shatter, but I did take a full head-on collision with a curb onto this bumper, and it's still on there and not damaged too bad. So that's fine. I think I fully expected to lose these mirrors, but they're still on there. So it's not the worst body, but it's also not the most durable body. So something to kind of watch out for when you get this truck or van. The other thing is the tires. They did work okay, but because the truck uses very flexible plastics, it's good for durability, but it makes the handling kind of unpredictable, and honestly kind of handled kind of similar to my Red Cat Volcano, and suffered from some of the same issues. Both those trucks are monster trucks, just based off of on-road chassis, and the arms on them are very, very flexible, which is good for durability, like I mentioned, but it makes the handling of the trucks kind of unpredictable. So it made the truck kind of hard to drive sometimes. So kind of control your throttle finger or your trigger finger, and maybe that'll help you keep this thing pointed where you want to go. The other point of concern is the drive cups. While they're pretty beefy and thick, they are plastic, and in the repairs I was doing, it seemed like the drive cups are already kind of getting worn out, so a little bit concerned about those. Also, not a fan of the fact that it does not use wheel nuts, and it uses a screw and a lock washer. As you saw in the running videos, I did lose a wheel, which does happen with lock nuts, but with a lock nut, you just have to replace one nut. Whereas this one, you have to replace a screw and a special lock washer. So, not a big fan in that aspect. But, speaking of some of the good things, overall, this truck did stay together. The electronics worked great. The speed and the overall performance is great. I did enjoy driving this truck quite a lot when the diffs weren't blowing out. It did drive pretty well, and I did enjoy my time driving this truck. And unlike the Volcano, it does have full range of motion in the suspension, so You're not going to have any drive cup issues or suspension issues with that. So pretty happy with that as well. And as far as price point goes, it is cheaper than converting a Tamiya TTO2 into a monster truck. So I think it's a decent value at $275. But accounting for the upgraded diff gears, which I think is a mandatory upgrade, it does bring the price up to around $300. So with that said, with my final recommendations, do I recommend the Kyosho Mad Van VE? Now, if you're really hell-bent on getting this truck, I'm not going to stop you. It is a pretty cool truck. It looks fantastic. It drives well when it's not braking. So it is a pretty decent truck, but if you're into pure bashing monster truck, I think a much better option, honestly, would be the Arrma Granite Mega. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. The Mega is a brushed four-wheel drive monster truck, whereas this is a brushless. The Mega, I think, costs just as much as the brushless Mads van. So on the surface level, it doesn't seem like it's the greatest deal, but the Arrma is going to handle much better because the plastics, while being more durable, are stiffer as well, so it's not going to handle all sloppy, so it's going to handle better. It has much better part support. Kyosho part support is kind of spotty. Even though they did set up their USA division, parts are still kind of hard to come by sometimes, and they are not the cheapest parts. Arrma is going to offer much easier parts access, at least in the United States. It's going to be much better handling. I think going to be much more durable, and just an overall better value. And speed-wise, while this is technically slightly faster, it's not that much faster than the Mega, so I don't think there's much comparison there either. And it's not too hard to upgrade the Mega either. And the Arrma is also much easier to work on, with much nicer hardware. A lot of the hardware on this truck are self-tapping screws, kind of like Tamiya's. So for the average Joe, you may end up stripping out your screw holes and stuff. So those are some things to keep in mind as well. So again, pretty decent truck. If you're really a fan of the Man Van, you really want this kind of style of truck, then go ahead, pick it up. It's not a bad truck. But if you're just trying to get a decent low center of gravity RC four-wheel drive monster truck, I would implore you to check out the Arrma Granite instead. Thank you guys so much for watching, and always have fun with RC.